Hey there, and welcome to the studio. Today I'd like to show you the first half of a new painting that I'm working on. It's a primarily monotone painting, so I'm going to be using a couple of dark tones and a couple of light tones. In the darks we've got Art Spectrum Lamp Black, Winsor & Newton Perylene Black, Langridge Indanthrone Blue, and Daniel Smith Metallic Graphite. And then in the light tones we've got Winsor & Newton Titanium White and Langridge Tinting White for mixing. Even though this is a monotone painting, I wanted a bit of variation in the paint so I could shift with a bit of temperature and a bit of texture. So that's why I've decided to have a combination on my palette. I've just put the colours on some bits of masking tape so when they get all horrible and crusty I can just peel them straight off the palette because I'm a bit lazy, and that just makes it that bit easier to clean up at the end of a session or at the end of a couple of sessions. To start out my painting, I like to sketch straight onto the board. I'm using an aluminium composite panel and I've put down a thin layer of No. 1 medium to allow the brush strokes to really slide across the surface and allow for a very thin layer of paint initially while I'm mapping out my forms and figuring out where everything's going to go. This piece was actually started before COVID-19 was everywhere and before lockdowns and the entire pandemic had started. It was originally based around the idea of resurrection and how we can pull ourselves up after events of trauma and events that take over, such as the Australian bushfires in early summer. This figure really caught my attention because of the way she was able to not only hold herself but look confident and look in control of herself against the elements. It really captured me, and that was something I wanted to capture in a painting and emphasize and build on. You'll see in this painting a couple of times that I'm reaching a point where it'll do or she'll be right ideas of sketches and paintings being good enough to get by just isn't doing it for me at the moment. I'm getting more and more fussy the more paintings I do with not giving in and not settling if I don't think the painting is being as strong as I think it is capable of being. It's very frustrating, I'll be honest, doing paintings and putting all my time into these sessions and then ultimately scrubbing out a sketch or scrubbing out a bit here and there, but it'll be worth it in the end, and I know it will be worth it in the end. It's just part of being an artist, I guess. I'm painting over the top of that first layer. The first layer has had a chance to dry for about a week, and that means that all the new paint will grip onto the last layer and not shift what's already there, allowing me to build up a bit of a glow in that white of the paint coming up and really integrate some lights into these shadows. So when it comes to adding textures and things like that, being able to control the layers really gives me a lot of ability to work off my sketch and add each time, add more with each layer. After more sessions drying, I'm able to keep going back and keep working on the painting, reinforcing those strengths in her face and reinforcing the shapes and the light, just allowing it to build. The frustrating part is now that the world has changed so much, I'm finding my patience, my emotions, everything's so different and so anxious that I'm having a bit of trouble focusing on what I'm doing and focusing on the intent of the work. And this is where sometimes you just find you paint and paint and paint and you don't get where you want to go. It's a constant struggle as an artist to know when a thing is finished, but in these stages it's more, when am I going in the right direction? When am I painting without focusing? When am I adding to the work, and when am I actually working in the wrong direction? When am I slowly destroying it by accident? How do I stop that? Is it worth fighting today? Or should I give up? Who knows? But it's a decision every artist has to make every other moment of every work. Where am I going? What am I doing? And ultimately, is it working? Sometimes we have to make the hard choices, that there isn't enough there to save, or no amount of little nudges will move the features where they need to be. Sometimes you've just got to go back. The advantage as an oil painter though is sometimes you can just go back to the last layer. So at least I don't lose everything. I'm sorry if that was a bit painful to watch, me going back and forth, but thank you for sticking through. Another video with the rest of this work leading up to its completion will be on my YouTube soon, so please hit subscribe and thank you for watching.